It's a rainy Sunday afternoon, and it's a great time to have a little coffee break. I'm your host, Roland.
And I'm Kevin.
And today we're going to be talking about a few different things. Nothing in particular, but just a nice general topic discussion, as we always do every couple weeks. Before we get into that, a little bit of a overview of what we're drinking today. It's nothing special. It's the same old, because we're uninteresting. I'm just drinking I brewed up something real quick. Standard drip in my nice coffee break mug, which, by the way, we will be putting out some links for the coffee break stuff. I'm happy with how everything came out. So I'm confident to put that link out at this point, with a couple minor edits.
Coffee break merch. Woo!
Yeah, if you guys are ever interested in checking that out, or supporting the podcast in a little tiny way, we're trying to keep it as cost effective as possible. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking. Kevin, what about you?
I'm finishing the last of the K-Cups, dude. I'm getting it out of the house. So I've pretty much switched over to the drip at this point, entirely. But I wanted to get them off my shelves, so I got this dark roast stuff. Atrocious, disgusting. I'm finishing the last of it. It's not good, but we're getting it. We're working through it.
Look at that. From the beginning of the podcast, where you're on the K-Cups, you had no idea what real coffee really tasted like until you came to my house, and now you're here. Now you hate the K-Cups.
Well, okay. Hold on. The one I had before, the medium roast Colombian one, Amazon Basics, those were not bad. They're still okay.
Okay.
The one I have, I bought a dark roast to try out a while ago, and I never finished it because it was so bad originally. And now it's just been sitting on my shelf, and I'm like, oh man, I want to fresh start, all this drip coffee shenanigans. I want to get it out of here, and I don't want to throw it away. So
I gotcha.
drinking it.
Fair enough. But what an evolution. I'm proud of you, dude. Good job.
I don't think I can go back to regularly drinking K-Cups, man.
Yeah, I agree. That stuff is gross. I had it in my office for a while, and I tried it once, and I never tried it again because it was just not good. It's just not good.
I'm switching to a new program at work, and the guy pointed out the break room in this new building, and he's like, we got these two fantastic K-Cup machines, the Keurigs, and I looked at him, I gave him the look, and I was like, yeah man, that's awesome. but deep down I knew I'm bringing the drip. I'm probably gonna end up bringing the drip pot there. Probably will bring it.
Yeah, or one thing you can do is invest in some reusable K-Cups, and then just put your own grounds in there. Just grind it up in the morning, throw it in the K-Cup, the reusable K-Cup, and then take it to work and brew it there.
I'd rather just bring the pot, dude. Have the pot nice and warm, just hanging out on my desk. Then I'll probably be drinking a ton more coffee, though.
Well, I guess if you can keep it on your desk. I didn't think they'll let you just bring your whole machine there.
Yeah. A lot of people have it on my old program. They just have coffee machine. There's so much room at our cubes that you can have a little dedicated coffee space and just have it kind of hanging out there, brewing the whole day. One of my buddies, literally every day, he gives me some of his drip coffee.
Oh wow,
it's great. Yeah, super nice guy. I owe him. But I want to say that the desk I'm moving to is a little bit smaller.
Okay.
But I should still be able to have a nice little coffee space and just have it hanging out there. That's what I'm thinking.
Hopefully, yeah. And then when we start producing our coffee break signs, you can just get a little sign over your coffee station.
Oh yeah. That's the plan. Get some nice coffee break merch sitting at the for the cube.
Sell merch out of your little cubicle, dude. Just...
Security shows up. Sir, we need to talk to you, ask you a few questions.
So we were talking all about all this coffee, right? But a recent study just came out regarding coffee consumption. You know, studies about coffee consumption are coming out every year. It's really, really sought after topic for study, which is great. But a recent one just came out in regards to how coffee consumption affects your brain. This was a study done by the University of South Australia. And they basically went over how coffee consumption, like high levels of coffee consumption, so we're talking about 6 cups of coffee a day, has a lasting effect on your brain. Did you happen to read through that article, Kevin?
I did, yeah. I wanted to say that it's got some quite interesting statistics in here. When I was looking through it, you know, you see these things that like talk about, yeah, I guess that's their like, if you, six cups is like the once you go over that, you're done for. You know? Your later years, you're done. If you're regularly drinking that sounds pretty bad. But one of the ones I was reading about was your if you have more than 6 cups, you're 53% 53% increased risk of dementia.
Yeah.
Some of the patients had.
Yeah, and that's pretty serious.
That's a high risk. That's a high number for drinking 6 or more cups a day. That's already a lot of coffee, and then if you're at that much higher risk, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and to directly quote this article that we're reading, and this is on SciTech Daily. I don't know how reputable. I mean, you know, it's not just on this website. They're just reporting on this study. But they say here that the study assessed the effects of coffee on the brain among 17,702 UK biobank participants aged between 37 and 73. So the sample size is pretty massive. It's not a.
Is that do you think that's a normal like size for a study like this? Like, is that like that's pretty big? You think? I don't know the average.
Yeah,
you know.
I think this is much bigger than most. Most studies I see that involve the effects on humans usually range between like 1 to 5,000.
Okay.
And now, granted, I'm not an academic, so I'm not actively reading studies and research papers, but the ones that I have read out of curiosity, the sample sizes are not this big. This is a pretty large sample size. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Maybe an academic will listen to this episode and say, Roland, you fucking idiot. That's tiny. I don't really know, but it seems pretty large. And so take this, you know, take this seriously. If you find yourself drinking a lot of coffee, and we don't really know if it's it doesn't really say here it's related necessarily to caffeine. It purely just says coffee. So it could be something else in the coffee that's causing this. Did you see?
It's got to be caffeine levels in the amount of coffee. I imagine. I don't know what else would be in coffee that would cause something like this. Well,
it makes you think, because it doesn't. The study doesn't actually reference caffeine consumption.
Yeah, I guess if it meant to talk about caffeine, like specifically, it would do just that, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to talk about coffee overall when they're talking about caffeine consumption in 6 different cups, right? And I think those are standard cups of coffee. Those 6 numbers, just to clarify.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're drinking a large mug or 2, you know, you're probably getting pretty close to that. I know my mug is well over probably like 16 or 18 ounces, and I know my work one is like 22 or something. So
yeah, we
very easy to go over.
I realized that too, because my morning cup, I in my brewer, you know, has the cups on it and everything. I usually drink like in the mornings 2.5 cups, and that will fit in my mug just fine. And my mug's not even that big, so if these are 6 standardized cups that they're talking about, there's a good chance that a lot of coffee drinkers out there are getting really close to that mark.
Yeah, you probably don't even like realize it. You have like your mug or two, and you're probably like, oh, like that's just like a like a thing of coffee, and then like, holy shit, that's 4 cups. 4 or 5 cups. Really fast actually with the standard compared to the standard size, right?
Yeah, and here's a quote from the article again. Typical daily coffee consumption is somewhere between 1 and 2 standard cups of coffee. So like your morning cup of joe. Of course, while unit measures can vary, a couple of cups of coffee a day is generally fine. However, if you're finding that your coffee consumption is heading up toward more than 6 cups a day, it's about time you rethink your next drink.
Yeah, that's like the standard. They keep going back to that 6 cups or more. That's like they use that a lot in this article.
Yeah, and reminder, this increases your chance of dementia by 53%. That is absolutely significant. So if you find yourself, once again, another PSA, find yourself drinking a lot of coffee, check yourself. All right?
It's so crazy to hear it like put like that though. Like, you kind of take it as a joke, but 53% is so high. It's wild to actually think about,
We love coffee here on this podcast, but we also know that it's still a drug. Anyway, I'm glad we went over that for our listeners, because I'm sure a lot of people enjoy their coffee. But let's get into the next topic. You wanna introduce us, Kevin?
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard already about the big lawsuit against Blizzard right now. The state of California has put together this massive case against them over the last 2 years, and it's taken full effect. And we've kind of seen some of the secondhand side effects. With World of Warcraft just tanking in numbers, a lot of big streamers increasing, but there's been some inside Blizzard. There's been some hefty things going on. I know one thing that keeps getting thrown around is them being compared to this frat boy culture with a mix of sexual assault cases, women being undermined and lower pay wages, and a few other things. It's a crazy time over at Blizzard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now just to reiterate, this is a lawsuit not just against Blizzard, but actually against the parent company, Activision Blizzard. And Activision Blizzard houses a whole plethora of well-loved and well-received games for the last 2 decades. So Activision Blizzard hosts Call of Duty, and like more popularly right now, Call of Duty Warzone, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Diablo, Hearthstone, the Warcraft franchise, all of it.
A lot of games, a lot of big titles.
And now this bombshell of a lawsuit is just it's on the trend of where Blizzard has been going, or Activision Blizzard has been going for the last 3 or 4 years. And like Kevin was saying, World of Warcraft, for example, has been seeing a steady decline in numbers for the last few years. This put it over the top, as now we have players disassociating themselves with the game, streamers and content creators for the game are removing themselves from the game and voicing their disgust with the lawsuit and the implications. It's
crazy. Yeah,
it's absolutely nuts. It's coming to a head, and I think it's great. I think it's great that this is getting the attention it deserves, because some of the things outlined in this lawsuit that the state of California has been, this lawsuit has been in development for 2 years, and some of the things that they covered are absolutely disgraceful.
Do you want to talk about the one coworker and what they brought on the trip and everything? You can explain that a lot better than I can.
Yeah. So some of the things that this describes as a frat boy culture. That's what the lawsuit describes, the workplace environment over at Activision Blizzard. Frat boy culture, and this includes the way that they've treated their women's staff throughout their history, right? Some of the situations that have occurred in the office space, for example, I'll just read it directly from the article. The lawsuit also describes a frat boy culture in which male employees engage in cube crawls, I don't know what the fuck that is, in the office, where they drink copious amounts of alcohol and then crawl their way through team members' cubicles and often engage in an inappropriate behavior toward female employees, including groping them. What the hell?
That sounds so fucked. I just like, I hear that and I just think of, you know, people in other cubes around me just getting smashed off alcohol, and then just, you know, going over, you know, you're working, you're doing your job, and you're just being harassed by, you know, just like different people that you're supposed to just be working with. Like, it's just unreal.
Yeah. And on top of this, their employees, the employees of Blizzard, the female employees specifically, standardly receive a lower starting pay and also just earn less than the male employees there. It's like Blizzard, Activision Blizzard is living in a reality of 20 years ago. It's wild. It's like they haven't they've been living under a rock this entire time. Crazy. And then what Kevin was talking about just a few minutes ago is even worse. It gets worse. So again, I'll just read this directly from the article. The lawsuit also details the death by suicide of a female employee on a company trip who allegedly faced harassment at work, including having nude photos circulated by male coworkers at a holiday party. This person also, and not listed in this article, or not discussed in this article, she went on a business trip with her manager at the time. And this manager had a history. She had reported like the sexual misconduct and harassment from this manager, and she still had to go on a business trip with him. And
that's so sad.
And the manager had brought in his luggage on this business trip a bottle of lube and it's a little bit crass, but a butt plug. And from what I understand, and I'm just going to double check this real quick, I believe the employee actually committed suicide on that trip. Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know how you report somebody like that beforehand and they still put you on a business trip with them, like, and it's just it's so, you know, it's unreal.
Yeah. So yeah, she did commit suicide on the trip. Absolutely, just what a tragedy. And the fact that we're only hearing about this now is just so wild to me. How does this get covered up? Absolutely wild. And despicable.
Did they say when that happened? When the death happened?
No, it doesn't say it here, fortunately.
Wow. It's really sad, and to think that it only comes up now, you know?
Yeah, and the fact that her coworkers were spreading her nudes around the office. Like, can you imagine that happening in your office? Like, how does that even?
I try to keep my nudes on the down low roll.
It's just insane to me that can happen, and no one speaks up other than the people getting harassed. Like, no one in a position of power says, "Hey, what the fuck is going on?"
It sounds like she tried to speak up. She just wasn't. They just weren't there to listen to her.
Yeah, fell on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Absolutely disappointing. I hope Activision Blizzard, gets reamed by this lawsuit because they deserve it, 100%. And maybe this is a wake-up call for them. Hopefully. But
I know one thing that I'd like to toss in there too. This is kind of like really just makes you think. It's quite coincidental. Is most people now are familiar with the what's his name, Bill Cosby sexually assaulting women over many years. And one thing that came to light actually was a bunch of these Blizzard employees. I forgot the main one. What do you know his name, Roland? The Alex Wasabi. I want to say Alex Wasabi. It's like he's a very big Blizzard employee.
No, the only one that I know that was seen in the picture was his pseudo name is Ghostcrawler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, the point of the story is they actually had a hotel room on one of their business trips dedicated to Bill Cosby, like a Bill Cosby, like it was supposed to be like just a joke at the time, but that joke's kind of falling in poor taste now with everything that's come to light. And apparently, this hotel room was where they would bring other employees and drink, and it was supposed to be just
It was at BlizzCon, yeah.
At BlizzCon, yeah, exactly.
And just to give context, now I'm a fan of the facts. So this occurred in sometime in 2013. This Bill Cosby room. The allegations, the serious allegations for Bill Cosby, and when Bill Cosby was basically identified, largely identified. Rumors have been around since like 2005 about Bill Cosby being the creep that he is. But the allegations that solidified that in public, like in the public sentiment, occurred in 2014.
Yeah, so this happened before that.
Yes.
But it's just one of those things that kind of just coincidentally happens that just
right. The joke was around where the jokes have been around since 2005 about the Bill Cosby thing, which I guess that's what they were trying to go for, like play off the joke. But then next year, shit hit the fan, and those jokes became reality. So, like Kevin said, just didn't age like milk. Poor taste. Just doesn't help their case. But yeah, it's a terrible situation. I sympathize with the victims over at Activision Blizzard. Hopefully they can.
I hope they find justice. I hope
hopefully they can find a new home. Honestly, I feel like you shouldn't. There's a lot of boycotts and calls for boycotts for the Activision Blizzard games, and the franchises there. And while I agree with the sentiment, it also hurts the people that are trying to make a living and have done nothing wrong. So the best thing we can do is just talk about it, bring it to light, and make sure to hold Activision Blizzard accountable. And just when you see stuff like that and you hear stuff like that, you gotta fight against it. Everyone has that responsibility. It's important, especially in the gaming community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know about you, but playing some of their games for years now, this kind of leaves a pretty sour taste in your mouth. Normally you kind of disassociate the company in a little in a way, because you're just playing their product, right? As the consumer, you're just you play their game. You don't really think about the company culture or anything else like behind the scenes, but it really leaves a bad taste in your mouth for future games. This is just gonna hurt them for years and years to come. On future releases, they're gonna I think they lost a big part of their fan base here. Yeah,
it's gonna take a lot for them to recover that trust. But on another note, they're gaining, while this is all going on, some their competition is taking
they're picking up.
Yeah, they're picking up. So I don't know if anyone knows, but the New World beta was happening over the last 2 weeks. And New World is a MMO, or a massively multiplayer online role-playing game that was produced and created by Amazon Studios. It's been in development for several years now. I've been looking forward to it for several years. And the closed beta just is actually currently ongoing now. And Kevin and I actually had a chance to play it. And I can say,
what do you rate it out of 10? The closed beta? What would you rate it out of 10?
Full transparency, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. 6, okay. Yeah. And I think that's a fair rating. People might disagree with me whether it's worse or better. I find it extremely.
It's definitely not complete yet. It needs work.
It does not feel like a complete game. It definitely needs work. The bones are there. We've been saying this for a while now. Bones are there for a great game.
I think we're both planning to buy it on release, though.
I already bought it. I pre-ordered it.
He already bought it. I did not buy it. I'm planning on buying it on release, though, and hoping that over this next year, because I don't think they're gonna fix all the issues by release at the end of this month. I think that over the course of the next year, we will see a lot of improvements, and the game will be really, really strong, and it's definitely going to be a competitor for years to come. I'm thinking it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I mean, just to go over some of the things, because I've put in, let me see, am I logged into Steam right now? Maybe I can check exactly how many hours I put into this beta. Because I've been playing a whole lot. I'm not gonna lie, 71 hours.
But this guy's been addicted. I think the PvP was the strongest thing for you, right? Like that's what really fucking sent you.
Yes, the most addicting aspect of this game, and the game was originally developed with PvP in mind. They actually, funny enough, not many people realize this. This game, New World, was originally made to be like Rust. It was going to be a open world survival game. That wasn't supposed to be an MMO. They realized though that they want to hit a larger audience, and Rust style gameplay isn't for everybody, and it gets kind of old kind of fast. At least in my experience.
I like that they kept that they transitioned to this MMO style. I think it's the way to go.
Absolutely, but so the core aspects of the game have always been of like revolving around the PvP. And they kept that. They kept true. They try to stay as true to that as possible. And now they have. So now it's an MMO, and they still have the PvP. PvP is optional, where you kind of you can choose whether you want to be in a PvP mode or not while you're running around the open world. And may I just say, this MMO, this game is one of the most, I think, the most beautiful looking MMORPG on the market. Or that will be on the market. The graphics and the world building is stellar.
It's exceptional. It's very good.
For an MMO, they've done a fantastic job. I got to commend them for that. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the game. Just running around the world and very immersive. The sound design, the visuals, just stellar. Great job, Amazon.
Yeah, so you get to deal with that, and then you get to deal with random players yelling at you over voice chat. So it's a combination of chaos. It's the best.
It's also exactly like Kevin said. It's the only MMO that I know of that has proximity chat through VoIP.
It's so good.
VoIP is
voice chat is the best.
Yeah, voice over IP. It's so funny. It's hilarious, and that's just a remnant of the old game actually, where like the Rust style game. That's just it's just left over from that, which is I love it. So where the game lacks though is the PvE content.
I think combat. I think you can tie that in with combat as well. The combat is pretty I think it feels pretty lackluster compared to like something like WoW.
I would disagree with you on that, and mainly because I've been playing a lot, and I enjoy the combat in PvP.
Do you think it's clunky? Do you find it clunky at all?
I find some aspects of the PvP clunky, but I also find some aspects of the PvP very smooth. Now, the entire game is action combat. There's no tab targeting. There's no targeting at all other than you using your mouse and your cursor to aim at an opponent and use your abilities or your attacks in any way. I actually very much enjoy the combat for the most part. There are some clunks here and there with some of the weapons and all that. But all in all, I think I do very much enjoy the combat. I think a large part of the problem that you might be experiencing, and a lot of players are experiencing, is the latency on the servers and just the general lag. I think that tends to put off a lot of people, including me at times. But in terms of PvE combat, yeah, I totally agree with that. The mechanics there and the actual fulfillment in combat through PvE, player versus environment, is not great, because like you're saying in WoW, you have your rotation where you're trying to maximize your damage with your rotation, and you have your ability, you have a bunch of abilities that you're pressing. In this game, the AI for the monsters and stuff was not that great. for at least the basic enemies, and you don't really feel like it's that difficult. There's no challenge for the most
I know
part.
a lot of the endgame PvE was like seemed very straightforward. It's not like there's not as many like high high strategy mechanics or anything like that yet.
Yeah, and I think I would agree with that. The PvE is definitely not great. Definitely could use some improvement. And if you're only there for the PvE, the combat's gonna feel kind of bad.
I honestly, at the current state of the game is, if you're there for the PvE side of things, I probably wouldn't play it yet, just to not ruin it for yourself. Because I think if you try to play it all the way through for PvE, you're gonna like not enjoy it as much as some other games on the market right now.
Yeah, I would say if you're playing the game for like the dungeons and the public dungeons and the instance dungeons, you're probably not gonna have. While the setting is beautiful, I like the vibes of all the dungeons and stuff. I haven't played through all of them. I've seen a few of them. If you are not interested in that aspect of things and you're looking for mechanics and gameplay throughout the dungeons, you're gonna be probably disappointed. If you're a PvP fanatic like me, who just runs around for hours looking for people to kill, with their good.
That's literally all he did, guys.
Him
and our other friend Rory were just PvPing nonstop, like it's crazy.
Hours upon hours. We'd stay up till 2 o'clock on weekdays. We have work, we have to wake up for work at 8. And we just.
I love that.
Yeah, we were going completely degenerate. But oh my gosh, it was so much fun, so addicting when you land your musket shots, the headshots. When you're using the rapier, which is one of the weapons of the game, like it's like French style, or I should say conquistador style. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. The PvP definitely dwarfs the PvE in my opinion, and with a few balance changes, it's really gonna take off. I would love to see more love given to the PvE aspect of things. They've taken the last whole year, actually. I don't know if you realize this. The whole last year was spent dedicated to PvE.
That's kind of interesting to hear about. I mean, like to hear. I wonder what it was like before and before a year ago, because it's still not great. From a studio, I understand that it's a new studio. But this is Amazon, guys. Like people all over the world, they're gonna hold them to a standard when it's Amazon, So it's just not at that same standard that like a game like WoW's at right now. And I mean, WoW has been around for a long time, but Amazon needs to step their game up with this. And even though it's not released yet, still got a long way to go.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely needs some more love in terms in certain aspects, but I'm hopeful. I think Amazon will handle it well, hopefully. And I'm looking forward to the next iteration of the game. The game comes out August 31st for anyone interested. Or closed beta ends August 2nd. So if anyone does end up taking up the challenge and play the game. I'll see you.
Write your name in the chat and we'll add you. Run it back.
Yeah, I'll duel you. August 31st, I'll see you then. But yeah, so that's my general review of the game so far. And I think
sounds about right. I'm kind of with you there. You played it quite a bit more than I did. I fell through pretty early, but
yeah, this guy only stopped after like the first 5 hours.
Yeah, I played a little bit more than 5 hours. Okay.
Yeah, go check your Steam right now.
All right. Let's see. All right, if I have more than 5 hours, dude, we're gonna have a problem. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I got to like 10 or 15.
No way you got to 15. Maybe 10.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. New World closed beta 10.3 hours.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I think most of that was spent in queue, but yeah.
No. I was out there, Roland. I was getting it.
You were grinding, dude.
I'd probably give the game like a 5 or 6 right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. It definitely needs some improvement overall. Yeah.
I'm someone who likes to enjoy both aspects of a game, you know, PvP and PvE. While the PvP I'm having a fantastic time with, PvE needs improvement for sure.
That game would be really cool with arenas, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want that. The duel system's actually pretty interesting currently because you can duel 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, all the way up to 5v5.
Oh, you can duel like that?
Yeah, yep.
See, I didn't make it that far.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of things you don't know. But a lot of people are calling for an arena, you know. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, anyway, that's enough about New World. Let's talk about a couple. Actually, we're gonna be wrapping up the episode here in just a bit. But before we do that, we want to give a couple of PSAs and talk about a couple of things going on right now. Real quick, let's talk about Delta, a Delta variant with COVID. For those who don't realize,
a lot of cases.
yeah, it's serious, friends. It's serious. It's if you don't know, the Delta variant is 200% more transmissible than normal COVID. It's not more deadly. It's just more transmissible. It replicates very quickly.
It spreads faster.
Yes. Yeah. And it will actually replicate. It's such a fast replication that in even fully vaccinated folks, you can become a point of transmission because Delta will actually replicate in your nose and mouth. While you might not feel the symptoms, or you might feel minor symptoms, the amount of the virus will keep replicating in those entry points. So you become a way to transmit the virus.
Super spreaders.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really interesting to think about. I mentioned this before, one of the first times when we talked about COVID. You know, people are back on, you know, nobody's wearing their mask anymore. And, you know, people are kind of treating things like, you know, back to normal when we're now at, you know, one of the highest points of COVID cases, at least in Florida, that we've ever had before. And this is with more vaccinated people than ever. Yes.
So the majority of people in hospitals right now that are suffering from COVID symptoms, that are like, you know, being hospitalized, are non-vaccinated folks. I think it's the numbers between 94 to 97% of people in the hospital are non-vaccinated. And now that does leave a small number of people who are fully vaccinated that are in the hospital, but reports have shown that those people who are hospitalized with COVID are much more manageable. Their symptoms are much less severe, and there's a very, very, very good chance that they'll make it out just fine. Whereas with the non-vaccinated folks, it's bad. It's very bad.
Real bad.
Yeah. Hospitals are getting overrun again. We are at the point, like Kevin said, where hospitalizations are high. Hospitalizations and cases are higher in Florida than they have ever been throughout the history of the pandemic. Higher than even January 2020.
And you just don't. And the crazy thing too is, you know, we're not hearing about it in the same way, right? Like back when we had the you know, the original spikes of COVID, where we just had a massive influx of cases, you would, you know, everybody you talk to, everywhere you'd go, you know, people were talking about COVID and you know social distancing and all those kind of things, and you just don't hear it the same way anymore. You know, people are really trying to go back to a normal way of things and pulling away from that, you know, that distance now because they're vaccinated. And it's just causing it to spread more realistically. Yep.
And the CDC, I'm pretty sure the CDC, at least I know the WHO, WHO.
World Health Organization.
Yep. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure the CDC has now come out with a statement now saying that they would recommend even vaccinated folks to be wearing their masks again in closed spaces. That's how serious it is. We're basically back to masking up, and which sucks because if everyone got vaccinated, this probably wouldn't be an issue. So if you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, guys, please, for the love of God, I'm not even religious, please get vaccinated. There's nothing stopping you other than your own laziness.
How do the vaccinations work now? I guess you just have, like, they don't have as many places, do they? Is it still the same? Like, you can go or you have to book appointments?
I think it's an appointment-based thing now, and I think most of your local pharmacies can probably deploy or give you a vaccine. There's websites for it. I think vaccine.gov or something.
Oh yeah, find like a shot near you.
Yeah, yeah. It's super easy. There's no reason for you not to get vaccinated. So please, I mean, some people will say, oh, they want to wait until they see the full effects of the vaccine. They want to see if anyone else gets like messed up or something, which is kind of weird in my opinion. But if 2 billion people getting vaccinated worldwide is not a big enough sample size for you, you have more problems. Your logic is very flawed. So don't use that excuse. Just go get vaccinated, guys. It just makes no sense not to at this point, especially if you're young. Most of the people that are getting hospitalized are under 40. It's our age group. Come on. The old people are right. Our generation's being dumb, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's not to rub it in, but it's important to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyways, I mean, as some of you already may know, to just kind of transition, away from, speaking COVID. Our friend Michael, for those that don't know him, he's been our friend for me like 5-6 years. Michael Smith, and I don't know, Roland, how long have you known him?
About almost a decade now.
Yeah, he was in a really bad car accident with his girlfriend. She was driving, and
well, yeah. Before we get into the specifics, we just want to say the reason why we're kind of late on our last episode and we didn't have an episode last week was actually due to this situation. I don't want to go into the specifics of what happened, but our good friend Michael, he was in a car accident. He was in critical condition. He's currently in the hospital, and we're all there for him. We're all trying to give him our support. He's looking up. It's looking a little bit better day by day.
Seen some good signs recently, yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna leave a GoFundMe link in the description for this episode and on Spotify and stuff for his medical bills and just to help his family in his time of need. Any help in that regard is very, very much appreciated. Yeah, so we love you, Mike. We're here for you, and everyone else is too. So, but yeah,
the amount of support that has been overwhelming. The family has been so appreciative, and I know Mike would be too.
Yeah,
seeing everybody come together has just been amazing.
It's been a rough couple weeks, but we're getting through it day by day. And yeah, so thanks again, guys. For anyone who might check out the GoFundMe, or if you don't have any, maybe you're a little tight on cash or anything, maybe you can just share the GoFundMe link. That helps too on social media and everything. We love to see
really
it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that kind of wraps up this episode. Thanks for joining us on another one of your coffee breaks. We hope to see you here next time.
Thanks, guys. Woo.
Have a good one.